Welcome back to the Buffie Burson Show here on Saintsports.com. Rusty Brown joined by Lady Saints head coach Buffie Burson. And, Coach, two tough losses there in the Chick-fil-A Tip-Off Classic that we talked about, and then you come back here in the Chick-fil-A Thanksgiving Classic here at home. You get two big wins, the one on Friday night against Kentucky Wesleyan that we just talked about, and then on Saturday, an 84-79 victory over the Lady Trojans of Trevecca Nazarene. And a wild comeback, to say the least. I don't know where to start on this. When you trail by 20 points with 10 minutes left to go, find a way to crawl back into this one. Did this team show some heart or what to get to 3-2?
Yeah, it was obviously a lot of heart, but I don't think anybody really realizes since we went to Division II what a powerhouse Trevecca Nazarene is. They played in the national championship game a couple of years ago in the NAI, and Coach Gary Van Atta and I go way back. I was actually his graduate assistant for 2 years, so there was some history there. And his daughter, Casey, that scored so many points, killed us from the three-point line. I knew her when she was just a little kid, and, it was just such a big emotional win for us. We cut it to, 10 about midway through the second half, down by 20 at halftime, and then went right back up to 20 real fast. And then our team, I just told them at halftime, don't look at the scoreboard. That's my job. Do not look at the scoreboard. So every time out, every dead ball, don't look at the scoreboard. And they didn't, and they just kept plugging away, plugging away, plugging away. There in the first half, the Lady Saints struggle again from the floor. They have 19 turnovers, shooting just 40%, 25% from behind the three-point line, and only reached the free throw line 4 times where they just made 1 bucket. And, Coach, how upsetting was it to see, especially those free throw numbers, just getting the line 4 times? It was very disappointing, especially after the night before where we were so aggressive getting to the paint and getting to the free throw line. 1 for 4, definitely disappointed that we didn't put them in. We only shot 4, and then the huge turnovers in the first half. You cannot win, going to the line 4 times and missing and then turning it over, 18, 19 times. So that was a big part of our halftime speech, along with, just plugging away and not looking at the scoreboard and, just keep going. So going into the locker room, the Lady Trojans did have a 20-point lead to maintain it until the 12-minute mark. And from there, North Georgia going on a 26-7 run, cutting the lead to 3 with 4:20 remaining. Coach, what changed? What changed? Mentality, taking care of the ball. All of a sudden you saw our players, really secure the ball and not throw it into, take gambles in unnecessary times. I thought we just took a giant step forward as far as maturity goes. And it was all of our players. We got points from Sarah Stinson, our 6'2" post player. She came off and, she started, but she scored, 17 points, 7 for 10, from the field against their really good post player. And that was big. There's a lot of little things that came into play, but just finishing, just changing our whole mentality and taking care of the ball was all the difference in the world. The score was tied at 79 with 45 seconds remaining following a Trevecca three-pointer. What was the strategy there coming down the stretch in the final minute of the game, tied up with this team at 79? Tied up, we wanted to make sure that we scored or got fouled and got to the line, and that happened to be in our favor. There's kind of a wild call there at the end, where I think they got called for a foul on an offensive board or something, which actually fouled out their best post player. So it's put Whitney on the line, and Whitney put 2 in. And so at that point, it was don't give up a 3, because 34, Casey Van Atta on their team, the coach's daughter, had already hit, 6, and she was actually touching, the NG logo on one of those 3. So she was shooting them deep. So at that point, we didn't want to foul. We didn't want to give up a 3. We just wanted to, take care of the ball and come out with a win. And how about the night from Janice Seeley? 23 points as she's named tournament MVP. And a team full of freshmen. Is she stepping up and really taking this leadership role? She is. Janice, she hit some, we talked about it Friday night, hit some big-time threes. She hit 4 for 4 threes or whatever it was the night before. And, she hit a couple in this game and free throws and, just very confident as a freshman. You wouldn't know walking on, watching her from the stands that she was a freshman. Aisha Alexander, another freshman that's just really taking on a quiet leadership role from the point guard position that's been really big for us. I can't say enough, not just about the freshmen, but other people that are really maturing as well. And Ely finishes the night with 23 points. Sarah Stinson with 17, and Whitney Randolph finishes with 14 as the Lady Saints get the 84-79 comeback victory. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Lady Saints, and we'll preview their next game against Mars Hill right here on the Buffie Burson Show on Saintsports.com.
Randolph, free throw line, kick out, 3 taken, Alyssa Stokes for the three. Georgia down 2. Inside, Stinson. Up and under, shot up and good. Last tied at 14 minutes in the first half, 7-7. Randolph, right wing, good. And at minute 10, Meredith Montgomery, 3, shot, good.
Welcome back to the Buffie Burson Show here on Saintsports.com. Rusty Brown joined by Lady Saints head coach Buffie Burson, and we're wrapping up the weekend, the Chick-fil-A Thanksgiving Classic, with wins against Kentucky Wesleyan and Trevecca Nazarene, both second-half comebacks here for the Lady Saints. And, Coach, a big weekend following a tough weekend the weekend before in the Chick-fil-A Tip-Off Classic, where you have 2 losses, 2 wins here this weekend. What positive do you take away from this weekend?
We're hoping that was a big turning point in our season. That's what we're going to use. I mean, with the last championship team in 06, our very first conference game of the year, we're on the road down 18 at halftime and came back and won. And so we're going to kind of use that, with this team, that you have that spurt ability, that comeback ability, not that we ever want to be down, but that you can do it, and that shows a lot. Plus, it shows a lot that we can beat such a good, talented team. Like I said, I don't think people realize the talented team that Trevecca had, just not knowing some NAIA schools. So we're going to take a lot away from it, a lot of confidence away from it.
And Trevecca coming in this weekend, a top 20 team in the NAIA ranks. And coming up next, Mars Hill. You go on the road December 12th, 2 o'clock tip-off. Mars Hill Lions are 2-2. They got wins against UNC Pembroke and King, losses to Queens and Columbus State. They're led by Brittany Young, who's averaging nearly 20 points a game and 6 rebounds. She looks like a pretty formidable threat, but you got a lot of confidence going into this game, but a big mentality change now as you go on a big road trip.
Yeah, and we're going to try, like every coach does, not to change a lot of things, routines and stuff like that. Obviously, you have to change a little bit going on the road, but, preparation and, pregame prep and all that, it's going to be the same. It's going to be a one-day trip for us. Mars Hill, they came here last year, and we were fortunate enough to get the win. They're very well coached. Like you said, they're 2-2. They have a win against one of our conference foes, Columbus State, and they have a loss against Columbus State, and they have a win against Pembroke. So, and those are 2 really good teams in the Peach Belt. So, you can't really get a good gauge about where they are right now, but I'm sure they're going to be very talented.
All right, always tough to gauge teams, especially going on the road this early into the season. Tough to tell who's going to do what. That game, December 12th at 2 o'clock on the road at Mars Hill. Then you get a week off, December 19th at St. Leo for the Florida Southern Classic. You turn around and play at against Florida Southern there in the Florida Southern Classic as well the next day. So a big break there. What does that do for your team in getting prepared here and playing such a short amount of games in such a long period of time?
Yeah, it's finals going on for us and finals going on for other schools, so it's always at different times during December, so it's always hard to get a good, solid schedule in there, especially with all the conference games that we have to play. But what we'll use it, we're taking 2 days off from this weekend, yesterday and today, and I know our players enjoyed that a lot. So we're going to use it as a couple of rest days, and then again get back working and work on things that we've picked up on these past couple of weekends, and then learn, of course, from the Mars Hill game. Going into the Christmas tournament in Florida. Again, there's going to be 2 good teams as well that we'll face. There's really nobody on our schedule that you can say, you're going to win. You can't do that.
No easy games for the Lady Saints coming up here down the backstretch now as we are 5 games into the season. Lady Saints now 3-2 on the year. Again, they take on Mars Hill on Saturday, December 12th. That one on the road, and then at the Florida Southern Classic on the weekend of the 19th and the 20th. That's going to do it here for the Coach Burson Show, as we've had a lot of fun. And, Coach, happy holiday to you. Chick-fil-A Thanksgiving Classic, always a good weekend to come away with 2 victories there in that one. That's going to wrap things up here on Saintsports.com. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll talk to you next time, and hopefully Lady Saints can get an even better record now as they're sitting right now currently at 3-2.